Ayon sa isang panayam kay Senior USec Panganiban tungkol sa oversupply ng bawang at repolyo, hindi raw isinaalang-alang ng ating mga magsasaka ang merkado kapag sila ay nagtatanim. Lubos po na nababahala ang kinatawan na ito sa nasabing pahayag. Bagamat maiksi, seryoso po ang mga implikasyon nito. Sa anumang banda ko tignan ay hindi ito naging katanggap-tanggap.
Congresswoman Rosana Ria V. Vergara of the 3rd District of Nueva Ecija is hereby recognized.
Magandang hapon po, Mr. Speaker, sa aking mga kapwa mambabatas at sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa pagkakataong maiparating ang aking ilang agam-agam tungkol sa isang kritikal na pahayag kamakailan ni Senior Undersecretary Domingo Panganiban ng Department of Agriculture. Ayon sa isang panayam kay Senior USec Panganiban tungkol sa oversupply ng bawang at repolyo, hindi raw isinaalang-alang ng ating mga magsasaka ang merkado kapag sila ay nagtatanim. Lubos po na nababahala ang kinatawan na ito sa nasabing pahayag. Bagamat maiksi, seryoso po ang mga implikasyon nito. Sa anumang banda ko tignan ay hindi ito naging katanggap-tanggap. Small farm holders or farmers tilling less than 5 hectares face a myriad of challenges such as poor infrastructure, high cost of inputs, limited access to credit, and the most important constraint, gaining access to consistent and profitable markets for their produce. These disadvantaged farmers struggle to get their products to the final consumer. This is due to lack of post-harvest processing facilities, storage facilities, and the much-needed market networks, which leave them dependent on the middlemen to purchase their produce. What makes their situation worse is the irony that these middlemen charge a disproportionately large share of the profit margin at the expense of the poor farmers. In 2019, Dr. Eleazar, who then headed the Department of Agriculture's Bureau of Agricultural Research, or BAR, said, "Farming is the weakest link in our economy." He said, "Farmers and fisherfolk who feed the nation with back-breaking toil, all sweat and blood, are among the poorest and most hungry in the society." Thus, it is quite alarming when no less than the designated acting Secretary of Agriculture says that the farmers are to be blamed for the inexistent oversupply of garlic and cabbage. The hard-working farmers who labor 10 to 12 hours a day under the heat of the sun, who earn the least but work the hardest to put food on our plates, to blame them for government's inability to address the structural inequalities of our agricultural sector is unfair, unjust, and uncalled for. Bukod pa rito, ang nasabing pahayag ay tila taliwas sa koordinasyon na kailangan para sa agricultural sector na inilatag ng ating mahal na Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Sa kanyang unang State of the Nation address, ayon sa ating mahal na Pangulo, sinabi po niya, may mga bahagi ng value chain na nasa ngayon ay kanya-kanya ang operasyon. Pagtibayin natin ang koordinasyon ng iba't ibang bahagi nito. Sa nasabing koordinasyon na ito, dapat nangunguna ang Department of Agriculture at ang mga opisyal nito. According to the DA's mandate, and I quote, "The DA is a government agency responsible for the promotion of agricultural development by providing the policy framework, public investments, and support services needed for domestic and export-oriented business enterprises." Sa madaling salita po, Mr. Speaker, ang DA, lalo na ang mga matataas na opisyal, sila ay dapat kaisa ng Pangulo at ang ating DA Secretary ang inaasahan na unang magtaguyod sa kapakanan ng sektor na ito, lalo na ng mga magsasaka. Sa gitna ng krisis, hindi ito ang unang bibitaw, maghuhugas kamay at isisisi ang problema sa mga magsasaka na ginampanan lamang ang kinalang tungkulin. As one of the earliest agencies established in our country, the Department of Agriculture has had the organizational structure, manpower, institutional knowledge, network, and more importantly, the duty to effectively consolidate efforts of all stakeholders in agriculture. Kaya naman, hindi katanggap-tanggap ang naging pahayag ni Senior Usec Panganiban dahil parang ipinapasa nito ang responsibilidad na maglatag at mapatupad ng malinaw na plano na gagabay sa ating mga magsasaka at iba pang stakeholders. Moreover, just a week before news were reported about the oversupply of garlic in Batanes and the consequent statements of Senior Usec Panganiban, other DA officials actually briefed the House of Committee on Agriculture and Food under Chairman Mark and Vergara about the outlook of our country's supply and demand for garlic. Reportedly, for this year, the shortage in garlic will reach 63,900 metric tons. It was also reported that the country's garlic supply relies heavily on importation and that the local production is insufficient. To discuss Usec Panganiban's statement without considering the Department of Agriculture's report to Congress is to miss the point entirely. If Senior Usec Panganiban is sincere in his efforts to address the problems in our agricultural sector, especially after the recent Sugar Order No. 4 incident, he should have first reviewed, assessed, and compared with the DA department in charge of garlic. His statement is a total contradiction of the DA stand. What truly are his intentions making these statements? Mr. Speaker, nakakalito at parang hindi tugma ang mga pahayag ng mga opisyal ng DA. Tila nagbabadya rin ito ng kakulangan ng koordinasyon mismo sa loob ng kagawaran ng agrikultura. Muli, ito ay nakakabahala at hindi rin naaayon sa kritikal na koordinasyong iniatas ng ating mahal na Pangulo at DA Secretary. With all the difficulties our country faces, it is incumbent upon all of us to contribute to the solution. Our President and Deputy and Department of Agriculture Secretary has provided us the strategy and the direction. It is high time for all of us, especially all the officials in the DA, to do our respective tasks and to do it well. Sa ating masisipag, walang pagod at magigiting na mga magsasaka, humihingi po ako ng paumanhin para sa mga limitado at short-sighted na pahayag na sinabi ni DA Senior Usec Panganiban. Moreover, I pledge to file a resolution in order for the House of Representatives to comprehensively probe the basis of the statements he said, which run contrary to the facts reported by the DA through Assistant Director Gabertan during our August 30, 2022 meeting at the House Committee on Agriculture and Food. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker, mga kasamahan ko sa Kongreso at sa ating mga kababayan. Naway magsilbing hudyat rin ito ng mga kinakailangang pagbabago para sa ating bansa. Mabuhay po ang sektor ng agrikultura, mabuhay ang mga magsasakang Pilipino, mabuhay po tayong lahat. Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon, Congresswoman Vergara. Thank you.